All right, good morning. It is the great winter weather update with myself, Rod, and my co-pal here,
Who's that guy?
Chris McGinnis.
Who's that guy? So we're back at it just because, as we mentioned from the very beginning, that we were going to keep kind of giving you the insight as to what we're looking, maybe more so than even what you see on television. And the news yesterday, even really the day before, was that we were kind of walking back on the overall, like, oh, could this be a big event for Portland?
Yeah.
Now we're no, that's not happening. Gone. Yeah. So with that in mind, now that we are kind of in the event or looking forward to it, we do have some winter weather advisories, parts of Clark County, the gorge, whatnot, that go into effect later today. And actually, I guess we're looking at the RPM snowfall map, which I got to say, for one, it does mention or certainly show the possibility of accumulating snows in the Coast Range, and that's a given. I mean, we're going to have snow accumulating in the coastal passes. It's going to snow in the Cascade passes. That's a given.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Higher terrain in this area. In the immediate Portland metro area, the RPM is not indicating it, but I think as that first wave of precip comes in, it's possible that we get a quick shot of snow before we see a transition to rain.
But what I wanted to ask you, part of what we do in these things that we discuss, as fellow forecasters, do you think it's possible that the snow level actually gets up above 2,000 feet and the Coast Range at 5 o'clock this afternoon is seeing primarily rain over Highway 26?
So if we looked at the thicknesses, right?
Yeah, you would say yes.
Like they come way
and
up.
the temperatures of 5,000 feet.
But what overcomes that is that we're still, we are starting to see that gorge drainage.
That pulls that cold layer down low.
As we talked about, the freezer door opening that lets the cold air come right through the gorge. And granted, the air on the east side is not as cold as maybe what it looked like 4 or 5 days ago. Yeah. But it's still cold. In fact, if anything, the Dalles has dropped a lot
21,
since yesterday. They were down to 17, I think, at last check.
Overnight? Okay. No.
Yeah, so that's, there is cold air to be had, which obviously means that the gorge is going to be its typical trouble spot.
So one thing we are watching, let's go ahead and take the other weather computer, Director Byron, pardon me. We have this big swirl of clouds. That's a low pressure system offshore that's going to bring today's moisture inland. We're thinking later this morning before the noon hour, and also pull the increasing east winds out of the Columbia River Gorge. So clearly, it's been a cold morning. We need temperatures to bump up between now and 10 or 11 when that moisture starts to arrive. 34 in Portland. Salem still, in fact, in the 20s. But look at Eugene. Eugene, I know just a handful of hours ago was at 30, and now they are at 35. And I checked their hourly readings, Chris, and they are starting to pick up more of a south wind as well. So we're going to keep an eye with south wilds expected to come up the heart of the Willamette Valley. We're going to keep an eye on temperatures down Eugene and Albany and eventually Salem. This is a forecast model that shows a south wind at 8 o'clock this morning, about the time we're taping this actually. Potential gust of 23 miles per hour. That may be a little higher than what we're actually seeing. But
note the wind arrow.
Yes, bringing the winds up from the south, blowing the air from south to north.
Look at Skamania and look at Portland.
And then there's the gorge wind Chris is referring to, bringing an east wind out here, which would make it a much more difficult task to warm up than our friends down in the mid-valley. But here we are, 2:30. That's when this model flips that east wind out of the gorge to the south, and that would mean, well, could Portland stay cold enough for some light snow showers through about 2 o'clock before the wind switches from east to the south? So that's something we watch, and those winds continue to be from the south, in fact, all the way through the overnight hours. So quickly, our headlines we do want to share with you. Gorge winter weather advisory for 3 to 6 inches of snow, potentially later today through tonight. Hood River, that's the forecast for you folks in the beautiful valley there. Temperatures may not get above freezing in the interior gorge until Friday. Again, the topography of the Cascades block a south wind, so it takes the gorge a while to warm up. The NWS did put out a coast high wind warning for later today and this evening for the potential south winds due to that big low we showed you on the satellite, gusting upwards of 60 or 65 miles per hour in the usual exposed areas along the beach. We had the black ice threat that myself and Chris were following for you this morning on Sunrise. And if all the data is correct, the valley should primarily see anything through mid-afternoon or early afternoon that snow change to rain with warming temperatures in the lower elevations. Yeah.
To that point, though, the Clark County and Cowlitz County, especially the higher terrain in Clark County and Cowlitz County, may still be susceptible because we're talking about warmer air also aloft coming in from the south. Yeah. It's going to take a little while longer to get up towards, northern Clark and Cowlitz County, and those. So coupled with also being at elevation, that's maybe a little bit longer threat for wintry weather.
Clearly not, out of the question. If you live up in elevation, you get an inch or two of snow with
east
maybe
of Battleground,
maybe a 3-4 hour snow period before
or in
you
the
have a
hills
chance
up
to
around
run.
Longview and Kelso. Yeah.
So you folks need to keep an
I-5
eye
corridor farther north
on that. So the big headline this morning was, unless I'm totally off base here, is that the threat of a significant snow or ice event on the low valley floor of the Portland metro area and down into Salem has really ended. That threat that we started to watch about a week ago. And again, that always hinged on having that cold Arctic air come down in place today that would fuel even stronger east winds than we now expect to get as that low offshore starts to throw moisture our way. But as we started to talk back on Monday, that cold air has just modified greatly. And you mentioned the Dow's is still in the teens this morning.
Yeah, the Dow's in the teens,
cold.
which is cold.
Yeah.
And in some cases, there's also the track of the low offshore in that it's wrapping up and heading north pretty quickly,
which pulls more of a
which gets more of a south wind out ahead of it, and it's just if the low itself weren't really ramped up until it hit the central Oregon coast, I think there would be more concern. But it's the storm itself is maturing, if you will, farther out, and then also pushing farther north before it even gets to the coast. So that just modifies things greatly. The modeling, by the way, had like the Gorge and the Columbia Basin last week at this time. The modeling was showing temperatures in the single digits, and now we're 17 in the Dow. So that's one of the cold spots right now. We're that modeling off about 10 to 12 degrees.
But keep in mind, can we take the 7-day one last time, Byron, on Weather One? Keep in mind, 38, maybe 40 today in the valley. We're still at least in the mid-30s potentially overnight tonight, and again Friday morning, although Friday morning has the potential to be not much of any precipitation. But my point here is, we may not be exactly right. There may be some variances in this, and the weather still warrants your close eye. I would say still until we at least get past Friday morning in terms of there being an episode in our many valleys and mountains where things get a little dicey.
And along with that, maybe still seeing occasional snowflakes mixed in with the rain, especially, we'll warm up a little bit and probably go all rain. But then there's probably a little bit of a period as we go into like later tomorrow on Friday where the air cools enough aloft that we start to see a few more snowflakes. Maybe. We don't think the surface temps ever get below freezing, so that kind of limits that. So
coffee break time?
Yeah, well, it sounds like we've got, looking at the extended models, we don't have any more weather to worry about for the next 15 days. We're going to have to find something else to talk about. What should we talk about?
I don't know, but
let us know. We'll talk about it.
Have a great day. Keep updated on the KGW app and KGW.com. We'll see you soon.